So this is the typical cosine function, okay? And the cosine function without any modifications has a period of 2 pi. So it's going to stay a period of 2 pi. It's usually got an amplitude of 1, but because of that coefficient now, the amplitude is now 2/3. And then there's been no other change, right? So normally the midline is going to be 0, y equals 0. That's still going to be the same. And there's no phase shift, okay? Now, when we're talking about cosine, it's important to recognize that it starts high, meaning when x is 0, we're starting at 1. Now, this will be modified to 2/3, but that's just something important to note. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot the center line in blue, and then I'm going to place the boundary, and then I'm going to place the boundaries at 2/3 above and 2/3 below, which is the amplitude. And this is why I leave everything blank, because I want to custom create it based on these values. So we'll say this is 2/3, as opposed to this being 1, 2, 3, right? Then I'd have like this tiny little thing. But I can say each one of these is 1/3, 2/3, -1/3, -2/3. And now because they want us to show 2 periods, okay, and I already know the period is 2 pi, I'm going to make this be 2 pi and this be 4 pi. Now I got 2 periods in the mix. Okay. Now we're at this point. Now we can kind of graph it with that nice center line at y equals 0. So we know we're around that center line. Again, with cosine, one of the things to remember is we're starting high. We're starting at that high value. And this is easy to verify because if you plug 0 in, cosine of 0 is 1 according to the unit circle. And then 1 times 2/3 is 2/3. So that makes sense. Then you kind of have this little thing that goes typical with one of these functions. Since I know the period is 2 pi, I'm here. Well, I'm also going to be here. It's going to return to the high point at 2 pi, return to the high point at 4 pi. And the bottom is going to be occurring in the middle of 0 and 2 pi, which is just pi, and 3 pi. So now we have bottoms down here. And then just to make this a little bit easier to graph, in the middle, we're on the center line, right? So in the middle of 0 and pi, which is pi halves, in the middle of pi and 2 pi, we have, again, 0. And we got these points here and here as well. And now we connect the dots. So we curve it like this, connect it up like so. And there we have our nice graph with 2 periods. And we already know that the max is occurring at 2/3. The min is occurring at -2/3. And the max is occurring when x equals 0. Right? It's also occurring when x equals 2 pi, and it's also occurring when x equals 4 pi, right? And then the minimum is occurring when x equals pi and when x equals 3 pi right there. But by the way, they only wanted this for 1 period, so we can just say, you know, the max is occurring, this is through 1 period, right? Those values. And then the min is for just one of those values, we can just say it x equals pi. That's how you do it. Boom, done.